What's up? Welcome back to Twisted Life of TV. I'm Portia. You are here for another recap and review. This is of The Handmaid's Tale, Season 6, Episode 9. I know this is late. I started watching this episode yesterday. I could not get through it because I didn't like it. And I think on top of the fact that the day that it aired last Wednesday, last Tuesday, everybody named Mama was all over Instagram crying. I mean, literal videos of them crying about this doggone episode. So I didn't understand what they was crying about. I watched it all the way through the end. I still don't understand what the heck they crying about. Now tonight, at 8 p.m., which is in 45 minutes, so it'll be before this doggone video loads, we will be having a live watch party over on Discord. And since this video ain't gonna go up until after the live party start, I ain't finna put the link down in the comment section. Should have already been there. Okay, so we gonna go ahead and get started into 6x9 execution. We left off with the handmaids running down the street with the snow falling all around them, opening up now with a march down the road. They in unison, walking down the road. Somehow June was lucky enough to get herself a pair of gloves because didn't nobody else have none. All of them, they making mean mugging faces to the camera. Making all these ugly faces into the camera stuff. And they feeling tough. They feeling empowered, okay? But they ain't did nothing but put people to sleep. That's all they did. They come up on these trucks. It's going to help them escape. Now, Mayday, Ellen specifically said she would not be able to extract them. But somehow, they got these trucks there, waiting on them to come get out of Gilead. A team of guardians pulled up behind them hella quick though. Fast. I'm still confused. Why would anyone would have said anything? Because everybody is supposed to be asleep. And if everybody is asleep, who the hell would have alerted the guardians that something happened? Make it make sense. Okay, who alerted them? Wharton didn't know what was going on. He didn't have an idea. Nick and Rose ate the cake, so they should be asleep. Lawrence, he was helping them. He didn't tell nobody. The tea was spilled before Aunt Lydia caught on to what was going on, though. I could see Aunt Lydia saying something, but she didn't either. So who alerted these guardians? Surely not Peter. I know Peter didn't do it because they let him live. I know Peter didn't do it. Anywho, the road that they traveled down to get to the trucks that weren't supposed to be there was a very long route. And along this route, Luke had placed these bombs. They was able to set these bombs off before the truck reached the ladies. Boom, and they was able to get away. Now Serena, she is hightailing it through these same streets in her chiffon dress and her kitten heels. Noah snuggled deep into her bosom and encounters a handmaid with her fully awake mistress. She didn't fall asleep either, and she is giving her chase in the front yard. Pounces on her back and later the rest, right? Serena is terrified. She hiding behind a tree. Noah is chilling. I don't know if he got some cake. They brought a little bit for him when they brought her home because this baby didn't make a sound. Not a single sound. Okay, now Phoebe, she ain't even a real aunt. We found out that her name is Ava. Lydia should have known that Ava wasn't part of the original crew. But okay, whatever. We're going to go with that. She says Mayday should have had all the checkpoints taken over by now, which would allow them free passage. How did trucks get in if they hadn't took over the checkpoints already? How did those trucks get in? And since Ellen said that she wasn't sending Mayday to go extract them, why would Mayday have taken over the checkpoints? They weren't at Jezebel's no more making deliveries. How did those trucks get in? They weren't delivering from the wedding. How did those trucks get in? But first, June and Moira, they got to get back in the fight. So they're going to go fill up with more of the handmaids, the ones that's posted. They're going to hop out, let the posted handmaids hop in. And my question is, where are the fucking children? Where are the children? Well, apparently the children and the commander's wives, who are still alive and not asleep, they supposed to be all going into safe hiding. And I was like, ain't nobody concerned with trying to grab these children. Janine says, if y'all stay in here to fight, I'm staying here to fight. Okay, Charlotte's still here, just like Hannah is. Hannah ain't there. When they blew the planes up, they supposedly took Hannah to Washington State. She ain't in Boston. But okay, we're gonna let y'all go with that. But why does everybody have to keep bringing Hannah up to June, to remind June of her fucking purpose? You're supposed to be there for Hannah. Anywho, Commander Joey, he at the crib looking out the window, the dogs barking, bombs bursting in there. And he gets a knock at the door. Gotta be Serena, which is wild because Commander Lawrence's house wasn't nowhere near the heart of the city. He lived out in the sticks, in the boonies. Remember when Emily was living with him? He didn't live nowhere near the rest of the peoples. He lived out like in a big ass farmland. But somehow Serena done made it to his house. Naomi, who should have been asleep because she ate all that cake that Lawrence was forcing her to eat, comes to the stairway like, what's going on? Who down there? Lawrence tell her to go back to bed. She say, I've been sleeping for hours. How, girl? How? The sleep aid wasn't even supposed to knock y'all out for 1 to 2 hours after y'all got home. That's what June said. Okay. And everybody, y'all just getting home. Y'all just getting home. How you been asleep for hours? But of course, like I said, it's Serena at the door. She like, we need to go. He like, what about Warden? She's like, I left him. On your wedding night? Yes, child, on my wedding night. Better now than then. Okay. But she said, girls, getting buck out there. It is getting buck out there. I just seen a handmaid take out a wife. We need to go to New Bethlehem. We need to get safe. And Commander Lawrence like, nah, it's too dangerous out there. She asked why. He said rebellion. That's what's going on out there. Rebellion. So we go over to the Blaines and Rose comes in. All bent over. Nick, wake up. Wake up. It's the baby. Now, nobody should have got up this easy without some smelling salt. Nobody. They all waking up. Like they was hypnotized instead of actually drugged. Okay? Because, anyway, what's wrong with the baby, Rose? I don't know. We need to go to the doctor. I guess they didn't care too much about the kids. I seen a lot of y'all in the last video comment section saying the reason why they didn't poison the cake with something that's going to kill them because they was probably considering the kids. They weren't considering them fucking kids. Them kids weren't even supposed to be there. Okay? And then Rose sitting here full belly pregnant. They weren't worried about her eating the cake. So please save me with that mess what they was trying to worry about the kids. They knew she was going to eat that cake, or possibly at least. They didn't care about them damn kids. They should have grabbed the fucking kids at the wedding. There was no reason for y'all to be sitting there watching them eat this fucking cake and putting them to sleep without trying to go get the fucking kids. They get to the checkpoint. A car is there, presumably waiting on them. But nobody coming out of it, right? So the guardians that's driving their truck, or the people who dressed as guardians, need to go inspect, trying to figure out what's going on. Why would there be a vehicle there waiting for them? Y'all in a vehicle. Why would y'all have but June was supposed to have a vehicle at the gate waiting for her. My bad, that's right. It was June and Moira supposedly had a vehicle at that particular gate waiting for them. So one of the men get out, go to the checkpoint, nobody exited. All of a sudden the back door busted open and they were caught red cloaked. Y'all get it? I said red cloaked, not red handed. I know that was cheesy. Anywho, they were lined up against the wall. They wanted June. They said, show yourself. And she cowered behind the other women. Oh, I'm like, she finna let them be her shield? She finna let them shield her ass? Okay. They pulled her out, the same handmaid that Aunt Lydia pulled the covers off of, who was pretending to be asleep, and said, look here, I'm not going to ask one more time, who the hell is June Osborne? And they took her and she stepped up like, I'm June. Leave her alone. Right. Just check my ear tag, because she didn't let her mama take the tag off her ear. She had the ear tag on. So they took her and carried her away. I was like, no ma'am. I know we don't want to see them die. I know we don't. But the Jezebels were gunned down in the bathroom because the commanders heard there might have been a plan to take them out. These women have begun to execute the plan, and they get to live. They get to live the fuck out of here. Naomi is like, they shouldn't have been let into our homes. They've always hated us, Serena. And let Naomi tell it, 37 commanders have been killed. And I was like, how do you know how many been killed? So there should have been 37 handmaids roaming the streets right now, unless they've all been caught. Well, it's the morning after, so word has definitely spread. So her and Serena Joy, they go back and forth over who's right and wrong with these killings, and that Serena needs to get off her high horse and run back to her motherfucking man. Okay, they need the men's protection right now. Wharton comes in, makes a statement that every traitor will have their day. Mark his motherfucking words. Mark his words. So when he saw Serena, he brought his tone down. Like most abusers would do. He said, I'm sorry I raised my voice at you. Our love was built on trust and respect. How about we try for a baby of our own without a handmaid? How about that? She like, okay, but what if it don't happen, Wharton is like, God will show us the way, baby girl. Okay? God will show us the way. In the meantime, all the wives, and the kids, we're going to throw them into a safe house, like I said. Serena's like, nah, I ain't going with them. I ain't finna go deep into the fold, not deep into Gilead. He said, fine, I'll put more guardians here, but I have to keep you and Noah safe while I'm up in DC making plans to strike back. So she like, boo, how could this happen? He said, well, while we were sleeping, or better yet, while people that ate the cake were sleeping, they used our wedding to distribute weapons. They laced the cake. He shook his head. In a way, he was saying, yeah, read it too. And then he said he gonna get back those ungodly women and that little dog Toto too, named June. And she like, no, not June. June is in Alaska. Now she know good and doggone well June ain't in Alaska, but she like, June is in Alaska. Actually, you know what? The last she heard, June was in Alaska. Okay, or he was at least back at the border because Nick was taking her back. Anyway, no, she not in Alaska. We caught her ass last night. She's like, wait a minute. Me and June, we friends. What you talking about? He said, sorry, babe. I know it hurts like hell when you can't trust your friends, okay? And I was waiting on her to tell him about Nick, speaking of trust, but she never do. Because that's going to expose her too, okay? Serena ain't that no. He told her, don't worry your little heart out. God's justice will be served, baby girl. So Wharton and June, they finally come face to face. They got her in their cage. It looked like that same cage they had her in before. And he said, you know who I am? She's like, yeah. I was at your wedding. What a beautiful ceremony it was. He said, okay. Well, he said this to himself. He was like, all right, cool. I see what I'm working with. He opened the cage, let her have a seat, then played a little bit of stir down to his June lost. She said, so who told on me? Serena? Okay, Serena. He like, no, she was actually taken aback that it was you. She thought y'all was cool, okay? She truly was trying to reform the whole concept of the handmaids. And then, but your sins that you just committed here, they ain't an affront to God. They are an affront to Gilead. Gilead is God's kingdom on earth. And June said, boy, please, that's laughable. Y'all a bunch of doggone frauds, okay? This has never been about the goodness of God. This has always been about power. He said, ain't that about a bite? I bet you feel mighty powerful right now, don't you? And she said with surety, this is the beginning to the end, sir. Right. But we here right now. Look where you at right now, girl. You here in Gilead. Gilead will stand. And I'm just trying to give you a chance of redemption. That's all I'm trying to do. Before I decide to persecute your butt, I'm trying to let you redeem yourself. And June is like, ooh, how generous of you, okay? He like, don't thank me, thank my wife. You know what? She will want the mercy for you. And June said, nah, she will want mercy for you. Okay? For all those women that you killed at Jezebel's. That's what she want mercy for. He like, God's going to be your judge, girl. And he started to leave. And she said, my God and Serena's God. How does Serena get included in this? Anyway, our God is one of love. And we bask in his greatness, okay? Because those of us who love God live in God, okay? And so I say unto thee, choose love, okay? Be the man that she think you are. She think she got him, especially since he didn't put her back in the cage. She thought she got him. She thought she reached him, So Naomi And the other wives, they about to go away with the children, and Lawrence is now a high commander, so he has to leave and go with Wharton up to D.C. He forces Naomi to take books and crayons for Charlotte, knowing good and god doggone well that the girls are not allowed to have writing utensils or books. Naomi shouldn't be touching them herself, but he says it's their duty as parents to teach their daughter how to learn. Okay, they are her parents. And Serena's like, are you going to attend the occasion? I'm like, what fucking occasions you talking about, child? Then she said, June is going to die. I was like, oh, so this is a public execution. You know, how they used to do us black folks back in the day. They lynch us and they have a big old party and bring everybody to the center of the square to watch us hang. Okay, that's probably what it is. Well, there wouldn't be, they wouldn't be there, Serena, if it wasn't for you. Okay. But even Lawrence has moved a little bit. He like, can we pray for her? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know this man has not prayed at all. He is not with the God stuff. But he wanted to pray. I was like, oh, ain't that sweet? So they bring June to the town square. I know I'm calling it town square. I'm aging myself. But anyway, they bring June to the town square up to where the nooses are hanging. And we get her staring to the camera. Her glaring to her eyes. This right here is a callback to season 2 premiere. Y'all remember that? When they had all those nooses hanging around in the doggone arena. And they put the nooses around their necks. And some of them was peeing on themselves and all that stuff. Aunt Lydia had set up their little mock execution. They did that in season 2, right? And they did it to a woman's work. This time, only difference is daylight, and all of Gilead is there. All of Gilead is there to view it. The eco people, the Marthas, they didn't have the handmaids. It was like a whole town of motherfuckers, but it wasn't not a single handmaid out there. It was just the Marthas and the eco people. Because they didn't have 37 handmaids plus they didn't have 37 handmaids on that damn truck. Okay. Anywho, Phoebe, she's standing there, you know. She already got the noose around her neck. Aunt Lydia, she brought forth. The handmaids are finally brought out of the vans and the crowd goes wild. They hanging sacred handmaids. I was like, are they? They've done it before. They put handmaids on the wall. They killed them before. They'll kill them again. Okay? They send them to the wastelands to die. Yes, they will. And they have killed handmaids. I don't understand what y'all shocked about. It ain't been no secret in Gilead what happens to the handmaids. They told Lydia, go ahead and atone for them. Go on and say a little prayer. You know, this is your fault. Okay? So you need to ask for God's forgiveness. So she started off asking for God's mercy. And then she said, they only did it because they fell victim to godless men. Wharton say, really, bitch? Okay, got you. Stuck a noose on her neck now, too. Surprisingly, they had one for her. So Wharton goes on with his grand speech about how June chose to be a heathen and not honor God. While he's talking, Luke and Rita make their way through the crowd. Again, they should have been noticed. It was so much movement because a lot of the rebels was with them. They should have noticed these people moving through the crowds. The Guardians should have took their ass out right then. Well, nobody did nothing. And might I say, Gilead as a town looked good considering it was bombs over Baghdad just the night before. But before they popped off, June is allowed to speak to God one last time. She's like, hey, Big G, hey, dog, I know I failed you. I failed my friends. In my mind, I was saying, yep, girl, you did. You should have killed them all. But go on. And, excuse me, Luke, I need some water. Need a dinner. Luke was there. He put out this knife. He had a knife. He didn't have no switchblade. That knife was so fucking pretty. I know I got a thing for knives. And that's the kind of knife that would puncture brains through eyeballs. And Rita said, fuck a knife. She had a gun. She said, I'm going to hit him with the best shot. I'm like, start the fight already. I'm tired of y'all focusing on June's face because that's all they was doing in this moment right now. After she done got done with asking for mercy, then she flipped the switch on their ass and she asked for strength for the meek and the eager to rise up against tyranny. Don't let the bastards grind you down. I'm so glad she did not say that in Latin because I still don't know what that damn phrase actually said. I can't speak it. But then in one fell swoop, June was hanging by her damn neck. Just up in the damn air, hanging. I'm surprised they didn't do all the handmaids at the same fucking time. I'm surprised they didn't do them at the same time. Okay, so since they didn't, this gave Mayday a chance to save them. Smoke bombs was thrown at the podium. Then gunfire blew through the crowd. I couldn't tell who was getting gunned down, whether it was Mayday or the mishaps of the Guardians, because everybody was fucking dressed alike, right? But some of the econ people started fighting, or maybe it wasn't. I wasn't sure because the rebels was dressed like the eco people. I don't know who the fuck was getting killed. Okay, Aunt Lydia, she was able to get out her noose. Wharton, he was able to escape the podium. Luke in the crowd whooping ass like he was still beating that damn trucker. Rita, she out here sharpshooting, taking out drivers and shit. Moira, she helping the handmaids get free from their chains. And I'm assuming Rita was the one who dropped June down, because she had jumped into this, I thought maybe been a crane, and dropped June down. She wasn't dead, y'all. You kind of need to wait at least 10 seconds after somebody stopped breathing when you strangling them. But at the way her body snatched up, her fucking neck should have snapped. Her neck should have snapped. But it didn't. She lived. And while everybody was down here fighting and stabbing and kicking, the American military finally showed up. I don't know what they was doing. I didn't see them drop no bombs. I didn't see them shoot no bullets. But somebody from the ground said, that's military planes. That's American planes. How y'all know? Gilead been in existence for almost a damn decade now. How y'all know what military planes still look like? They've all been taken over by fucking Gilead. Gilead was supposed to have the larger and stronger military, but somehow y'all was able to get 4 fighter jets through here over the doggone hanging ceremony undetected. Well, Serena Joy was sitting in Commander Lawrence's house, feeling the ground shake beneath her feet, and in comes Tuello with the military looking for Lawrence. But Serena, she's gonna be taking the safety. Okay, Nick's at the hospital with Rose, the baby fine, and she said, you know what, it's a blessing you are by my side. And Nick is like, where else would I be? What? No, with June. I'm saying that, I'm saying it, but she said, you need to end this shit. Okay, my damn daddy was almost lynched by them fucking rebels. Lynch would have been too kind for Morton. That'd have been too kind for him. She said, you need to end the assault. Finish her, okay? Finish her like she's Mortal Kombat and shit. We already know that the cake was laced. We already know that the cake probably harmed my baby or caused these contractions. So you got to go handle that shit. Show her who you really with. Show your fucking allegiance to God, to Gilead, to me, to our son. Rose, Nick is only loyal to himself, boo. When y'all gonna figure that out? When y'all gonna figure that out? But June is at some medical facility for Mayday, rushing through. She moving mighty fine and have just been strung up by her damn neck. Rita's like, what the hell are you doing? You okay? Go lay your ass down. She's like, I am fine, girl. I am fine. Where's Moira? Moira outside helping the medics. We don't get to see her this entire episode. She wasn't looking for Janine. We don't get to see her this entire episode. She wasn't looking for Luke. And he was like, you all right? You all right? She's like, yeah, we're Tuello. Okay. He led her to where Tuello was at, where Phoebe, what we now know as Ava, she's standing next to Tuello. Apparently, Phoebe is former CIA. She is not a good CIA agent based off of her actions. Because she should have been able to take out Aunt Lydia at the fucking Red Center. She should have had a smarter alibi when Aunt Lydia stopped her. She was talking about she looking for a fucking mop. She is a horrible CIA agent. But anyway, apparently, they still didn't get all the commanders. What was the fucking bombs for? What was the bombs for? Why am I all they know is that Gilead may be planning to bomb the whole city of Boston, and they can't let that happen. Lawrence is in the wind, okay, and he thinks Serena Joy is holding back info. June says, Serena? Yeah, of course, Serena. Well, now you know she got to go talk to her bestie. She in protective custody across the street. Why is Serena Joy the only one in protective custody? Why they didn't bring Aunt Lydia there to protective custody? Any other eco families or aunts and shit why they didn't bring them there? Okay, why is Serena the only one in protective custody, but ain't nobody guarding her ass at this fucking church? Serena girl. Woo, June walked in, she's like, ooh, fancy seeing you here. You really caused the ruckus out there, girl. And June and I like, I gave them what they deserved, okay? And she like, that is not for you to decide, June. And June gonna tell her, Well, that's what you did. I told y'all, she always deflects. Just own your fucking choices that you made, June. Just say, yeah, I did that shit. Stand on it. I made the choice. I did decide. Now what? But instead, she asked her, well, we need to know where the commanders are at. Where they meeting. She's like, I don't know. Somewhere safe, I would imagine. I really thought you changed, Serena. Why would you think that, June? Why would you think that? Everybody in Gilead is exactly who they was when we met them. Everybody, including you. Including you. Okay? But then, no, she gaslit her like she always do. Guilted her and saying, is that the type of daddy you want for your son? That man tried to hang me. He just tried to kill me dead. Girl, no, a real daddy was a tyrant. So why not step pops too? Okay, it ain't gonna make no fucking difference. And she's like, God wouldn't want this. You know it. Okay. She got in Serena's head. She spilled the beans and she gave June all their flight info. Now, Tuello should have been able to get flight arrangements from the airport, but that's okay. He didn't. Okay. Somehow Lawrence shows up. He happens to know exactly where they holding out at. It's fucking amazing. Oh, my bad. There was military in his house waiting on him till he returned. Okay. I don't know where he had went, because what he had told Serena Joy was that he could not come to the ceremony because he had to fly out to go to D.C. He was leaving with Warden. It shocked me to see Warden at the ceremony because he's supposed to be flying out with Lawrence. But okay, he didn't fly out then. He left for some doggone where. I guess that's where he was taking Naomi and them to the safe house. Maybe that's where he left to go do. He came back to the house and the military was there, so they brought him over here. All the commanders that they was trying to kill at Jezebel's, all of them lived. All of them lived except for Bell, because June had already killed him. And he said that they are excluding him. You know, they benched him because they all want to rain down hell on Boston. And June said, but ain't they flying to D.C. tonight? You know, go ask the High Council for permission. He's like, how the fuck you know that? Well, Serena told him. I'm stuttering. She said Serena told her. And Serena is one of them now. How the fuck is she one of y'all? You ain't even one of them for real, June. But June will always be there for her bestie. She gonna always be there for her bestie. Now, Lawrence just said he had been benched, right? Which usually means you take it out of the game. But Tuello say you need to get your ass on that plane. You got to plant this bomb. It's altitude triggered, which means once it go up at a certain height, it's gonna go off with or without you. Get your ass off the plane before they even get there. Lawrence is like, oh wait a minute, hold on, my bad. Did you say you? I could swear when you said the word you was looking at me. Hey, just shoot the damn plane down, man. Okay. Now Gilead is on alert. Airspace is down closed. Airspace been closed. What the fuck are you talking about? And he like, Tuello, like, we know how they missiles work. Y'all was able to get 4 fucking fighter jet planes into the doggone Gilead over a fucking hanging ceremony just hours ago. Where the fighter jets go? Okay, where they go? Military ain't good for shit. And my military mind is going crazy. My military mind is pissed the hell off. Lawrence is like, hell no. I ain't doing it. I am not doing it. Here's my thing, right? June has been to D.C. before. She knows where the command in D.C. is located. Why they just don't attack D.C.? That way you get not only the commanders who didn't die, you get the fucking High Council too. Make it make sense to me. But June tell Lawrence, don't worry about it, boo. I got you. I'm going to drive. I'll be your getaway driver. And he's like, June, you're already safe. Don't put yourself back in jeopardy. She's like, I ain't safe until they're dead. Ain't nobody safe until they dead. So let's do this, right? They make their way to the airport, and at first he was shooed away by the other commanders, but Warden was like, no, come on out. We need a united front. He was supposed to be going anyway. Okay? But anyway, Lawrence froze where he stood, and June, the getaway driver, was not in the car at all. She tucked away on the tarmac behind the car. Now, Warden noticed that Lawrence wasn't moving. He's like, dog, what's up with you? You coming or not, right? Well, little did you know, that wasn't my plan, my boy. That was not my plan. He was supposed to get on and off the flight unseen, okay? He wasn't supposed to be on the plane with y'all. But he climbs the stairway, and he looks back at June like, that's it for me, dog. That's it for me right there. Ain't no getaway here. Okay, next, Nick pulls up. He finally got a driver. This driver was old ass time. I didn't even think people this age still lived in Gilead. This man was old. Where did great-great-grandpappy come from? Okay, anywho, June see Nick board the plane. Her fucking stomach dropped. Not her baby. Her baby not finna get on this plane. Not him. He stopped before getting on, like he sensed her presence. You know, he always sensed that she was around. Or he sensed that something was off. But he, against his better judgment, he go ahead and gets on the doggone plane. You know, it gave her a little hope when he first stopped, like he was finna get off the plane. You know, her little world was shattered when he got up on that motherfucker. And I was like, now why would Nick be going to D.C.? He not part of the High Council. Well, apparently Rose encouraged him to go. He walks up to Lawrence and says, look who decided to join the renters, referring to Lawrence. Nug was smart. Nick was smug as a mug too. Finally got you on board. Okay, what the fuck? What happened to your little plans? You know, I was like, what? Okay. Then the plane started to leave. And June was panicking. She was having a panic motherfucking attack. Nick asked Lawrence on the plane, is June all right? And Lawrence said, you know you can't keep a good woman down. You know you can't keep a good woman down. And he's like, yeah, you know, she told me to give all this up many times, but you know. And he said, well, buddy, you should have listened to her. And Nick looked over him like, what you mean by that? Now remember, the bomb is altitude triggered. So there was nothing Lawrence needed to do other than die. Okay. June walked down the unguarded tarmac. This is the Gilead tarmac. The high commanders was present and loading up onto a plane. And there's not a single thread of security on that tarmac. The plane started to roll off and June just standing there in all her glory, looking up at the camera. I mean, at the sky. Looking up at the sky. Then all of a sudden, poof, the sky turned orange. The bombs bursted in air. Gave proof through the night that the commanders weren't there. It was finally over between them. That's the only thing I thought about. They finally broke up. That's the only thing I thought about, child. What the hell was y'all crying about? What the hell was y'all on IG and Twitter crying about? There was nothing tearful about this episode to me at all. Nothing. What was y'all crying about? Because she lost Nick. Because Lawrence got killed. He just an economist. He the motherfucker that created the wastelands. Fuck him too. Oh, y'all feel so much sympathy for y'all goddamn oppressors. I guess y'all don't feel like y'all being oppressed because, you know, y'all been redeemed. And Serena Joy was saved once again. Get the fuck out of here. Y'all have a good night. See y'all in the next video. We gonna do this live stream tonight. And then I'll put up the doggone recap sometime this week. Peace.